Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Fawn.
What's up, everybody? This is Herschel Fawn from High School Top 200, and this is the Monday morning meeting. Welcome back to once again. Welcome to the podcast. If you're new to this channel, like and subscribe from all these YouTube videos and all the podcasts that I do weekly. Also, jump onto my Facebook page, Instagram page. Still thinking about that TikTok page. I don't know if I can do that upkeep as well as everything else, but I'll try. I'm just still thinking about it, but it's not about a lack of content or everything. It's just more about a lack of time. Like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Share it with your friends, and then go on to hstop200.com and sign up for $5 subscription. It is not free. I know what it says. I don't have money to change it, but when I do, I'll change it, and then I'll make sure other stuff is done as well to the website. But it's just the weekly updates. All the rankings are going to be updated. I've already had the last one for the top 100 schools in the country. That one's already been updated and last updated. The next one's going to be the top year 11s, top 60 year 11s, also the top 100 year 12s, and also the top 200 with all the players. And then all the last rankings that I do, that's just going to be it for the rest of the year, and then everything else is just other content as well, because remember, we've still got reps coming up. All the under 16 reps are going to be selected, all the under 18 reps are going to be selected. We still got our regions going to be selected too, so I'll put out my region teams. I know I was supposed to do it before, but then I wanted to wait and hang on for a bit, because we're going over some film, and I think, and because I wanted to change the top 200, do a drastic change, just to make sure that everything was right, and make sure everyone that is on there should be on there, that isn't on there should be on there, things like that. And so all that stuff's going to be done. So we'll just start off with this and get all this kind of stuff out of the way first before I start talking about happy stuff, right? So obviously everyone by now has heard about what's happened with Scots College, and the first thing I want to say is that we've got to remove the players from this, because it really doesn't have anything to do with the players. It really doesn't. They have no control over this side of things. They're just the ones that play the game. They're not the office guys. You know, they're not the guys in the strategy rooms. They're not the guys in the tactical rooms. They're not the guys putting the game plan together or anything like that. They're just the executors. So really, they've got nothing else to do with this. They have no control over this whatsoever. So all of this is kind of just directed at rugby management, coaching staff, all that kind of stuff, right? Now, we've all seen the video. I think it's very clear what the video has and what it contains and what it's saying, and that you can't really argue with what you see. You know, and it just doesn't help that Scots has this reputation of doing things like this. And obviously, take it back to last year, where I think it was 2 games where they got points, the wins taken off them. That's why they didn't make the top 4 last year. They got the wins taken off them because they had illegal guys in the field, you know, guys that were registered or anything like that. Now, my thing is that I'm still kind of frustrated at the fact that I feel the coaching staffs are wrong. I feel that the coaches were wrong. And from what I hear and what I've been told by more than at least 5 people, both parents and players, is that players are getting attacked. And they're getting attacked online. Not on my page, like all the stuff that I've read on my page, and if you go through all the comments, now, you know, no one's dumb enough on my page to talk about the players, because everyone knows it's got nothing to do with the players. So I'm guessing, and I'm taking a guess that it's probably stuff that's going around, on phones and, TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, that players are getting attacked. Now, my thing is that if players are getting attacked, to me, coaches haven't owned up to it and taken the fall for it. And from what I've seen, they haven't taken the fall for it. If I was a coach, I would take the fall from it to take away from our players. I would just own up and then apologize. And that's kind of why I feel like players feel like it's their fault, because no one's taking responsibility for it. And I think it's a hard thing for these kids who put in the training, did what they needed to do, they even played the game and won it, for it to be taken away by something that was out of their control. And all of that has nothing to do with them. So someone else has to take the blame for this. Someone else has to take the blame. Now, if you're going to protect your own kids, why don't the coaches own up to it? Why doesn't the rugby directors own up to it? To me, they didn't even separate themselves from coaching staff and players. That was the other thing I don't know, I might have missed it, but even from the principal himself and what he put out, and I shared on my page what he said, his whole thing, I did not see him disconnect those two things from players and coaches, because he called it a school, their school and their team, like they were all together with the one decision on this, which doesn't really say much for the fact that you're still lumping in the players. And as a team and a school, you decided that it was in the safety of the players that you guys withdraw. But there's no safety in these players if you're just gonna go out there and then sort of continue to throw these players in these games, knowing that you don't have a full bench, knowing that you can't provide the numbers available, or knowing that you can only go to your second 15, which you think isn't strong enough to bring players through that can take up these numbers. Now, I honestly don't care about who the kids are. I do care about the fact that the kid himself that was reported to be told to get changed and go back to the changing rooms, I care about that kid. Like, and I kind of just put myself in those situations. I was thinking about it, I was talking to my brother about this, and I was thinking, you know what? If this kid, I don't know, if I was at school and one of my mates got told, bro, you're not playing today, you've got to go get changed, you're not playing today. But he's already dressed in the kit and whatever. Like, I'm sure that fella went back, I'm sure anybody would go back and flip and start running through their mind like, oh man, like what's wrong? Like why can't I play? I'm already dressed, mentally ready, I'm trying to get into this. Like I kind of feel like even if he wasn't good enough, wouldn't your prep talk be a bit different? Wouldn't your prep talk be about him proving himself? Maybe him giving it a go? Maybe him, you know, turning over a new leaf, finding some more confidence? Because like even in the games, right? In the games, if you just had one scrum just not being able to handle it, and the ref sees it, the ref is just going to call it and go, hey, we got to go golden oldies, you guys are getting smoked. But they even stopped it even before this dude touched the field. Which I honestly, I don't know how they can say that to a kid, to even get him dressed. And that's the decepting side. That's what's so deceptive about this, is that they already had him dressed. The video clearly shows those guys walking back off the field to go sit down. Then you can see that guy go to the sheds. It's like, that's clear of what they're doing, and then him come back and sit down. If he was injured and you're saying that he wasn't ready, then why would you even get him dressed then? Like, all these kind of things, I don't understand. I don't understand this side of it. I don't understand their point of view, saying it's the safety of the players and blah blah blah. But you got him dressed, man. You told him to get ready. You said he was going to play. I believe that kid was mentally ready to play. I believe that he knew at some point, knowing that he probably knows that, man, I've got to really step up today. He wasn't going, man, I shouldn't be playing today. Man, I shouldn't be on this team. Man, I don't want to play. Damn, I'm scared of these fellas, or whatever he does. Like, none of these guys go into like that. He would, even if he knew that he wasn't ready for it, his mindset is like, I've got to stand up for my team. I've got to do the best that I can to now take the field against this team that I probably shouldn't be playing against, but I'm going to do my everything. And like I've said before, Rathkill does it. Lindisfarne does it. St. Andrews does it. John McGlashan does it. St. Kent's, King's College, Whanganui Collegiate, everyone does it. Those private schools, they all try. They all do the best that they can, and they put these guys ready. But that's the other thing, is that, like, I don't understand how you just have one team. Like, the struggles that I hear about Scots College with every team but the first 15. Well, now we know that there's troubles in the first 15 as well, but how do you not have a consistent... How is there such a big gap from the first 15 to the second 15? And the under 15s? I don't know what their setup is. But if you're not setting up a rugby program and you're just setting up teams, then you're not really doing any boys any kind of favors and teaching them the game of rugby, or they're trying to develop their skills for what these scholarships that they're giving are. The rugby scholarships. There's nothing else for it. So you should be going to a rugby program that has steps for all these kids to go through. That if you get a scholarship in year 10, or you get a scholarship in year 11 or year 9, they should have development points for you to be where you need to be. But it kind of feels like they don't. And I always kind of wondered, like, I know that there's some year 10s that play in all private schools. There's like a few year 10s that will play. Mostly year 11s will play, but when you consistently have year 10s playing in your first 15, like Yeti Campbell, he played when he was year 9, year 10, I think. I think Malo Tuitama was another one. I think I don't know if the twins did. The Umanga Jensen's twins did. Ethan, I think, did as well, but I think there's like a bunch of them that all played, you know, when they were all year 10s. Jonty did. I remember Jonty playing as a year 10. But if you have consistent year 10s playing in your first 15, I feel like that's a problem. Now, whenever I see a year 10 playing, I say, fine, he must be special. But when I see him play for Scots, I was thinking, damn, another one. I don't know, I might have lost track, but I always kind of think, man, another one. Now that to me just says that there's a problem with, I guess, the development and makeup of your rugby program, if there is a rugby program there. Now, if there's not, I'll be pretty scared and fearful for my kids if they were sent there to that school. If you were promised a rugby program and really they just want rugby talent and they're just going to build on that, then that's different. All these other schools have rugby programs. And the rugby programs are for rugby players that come in on scholarship and for the boys that actually go to that school and that pay fees to go there. I'm starting to get the feeling that it's not the same at Scots. Like I said, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into what the rugby program is. But the feeling in this is 10 years of doing this, I'm starting to think it's like maybe they don't have an actual rugby program that's set up. Which is sad. Like, that's sad for the boys that do want to play rugby, do want to develop their skills, and they do pay, pay the full fees to be there. Again, I feel sorry more for the player. I feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for the players on the team. And I do think that if someone just owned up to it and took that pressure away from those kids, just to say, concentrate on us and don't concentrate on the team, it's not a team thing. It's not a team problem. Even the injury itself is not a team problem. The kid's getting injured, the kid's not ready, the kids are, that's not their fault. That's your guys' fault. To me, that's Scots College fault. That's the Scots College rugby department's fault. The management department fault. And I'm sure everyone has seen the text that's gone around. That's been screenshotted and gone around. Because and what I loved was the honesty of the boy. The honesty of his text and the message that he sent, which, I mean, it's pretty cold-blooded that it came out, but he was honest about it. I do think he was honest. I think he was just fully honest about it. I like the purity of his honesty, because he knew. And he knew it wasn't right either. But again, it's not his call. He really just told what happened. He didn't say, I made this decision and I said to my mate, go and get changed. He said no, they told him to go get changed. And it's sad that it's like this. It's sad that these boys have gone all year, trained their hardest, got themselves prepared in the off season, had such a good season all year through, didn't lose a game. I ranked them really highly because I liked them. Even when I saw them up here at King's College, I've seen 5 of their games this year, or 6 of their games this year. Oh no, I saw the quad ones as well. I saw those quad games too. And to me, I was just like, and this is how they finish. And remember, most of these boys are going to be finishing this year. Most of those boys, like, there's going to be half of the team is leaving, half of the team is staying. And then what's going to happen next year for all these guys that are returning back that are part of this team? And that teams won't want to play them, because now what's going to happen is that everyone's going to have a photo next to their name. Everyone is going to have pretty much an identity check. You know how you go along and you check your boots at the beginning of the game? How about every management from the other team, especially against Scots College, is going to have a face check. And there's going to be someone there with a clipboard going, oh yeah, that's him there, he's wearing that number. Oh, that's him there, he's wearing this number. That's that guy there, he's wearing this number. He's going to, the guys in Wellington are going to bring a kid over and go, hey, is that kid there? And they go, yeah, that's him. Okay, how about that kid? Is that him there? Yeah, that's him. Is this guy this kid? And they're going to go, I don't think so. Hold on, we'll just ask somebody else. Hey, is that kid? And then they're going to have to go and go, who's this kid here? You're going to see Scots College asking, when they do have honest front row problems, injury problems, you're going to have them asking, hey, we don't have another person for our bench in our front row. And they're going to go, hey, forfeit then. Forfeit. That's what no one's going to give Scots College the benefit of the doubt that, oh, okay, yeah, they just got some injury problems. Because I think a lot of schools have let it slide. I think a lot of schools in Wellington have let it slide. But after something like this, and these kind of situations, I don't see Wellington teams caring about that anymore. And the worst thing is that the kids all hang out together. They all know each other. They're going to get mocked from the other schools like your school's a joke kind of thing. It's got nothing to do with it, man. It's just what kids do. It's just what they do. They're going to get mocked for it. And it's got nothing to do with it. It's not in their fault. Now, I was also thinking about this, right? I was thinking, okay, I heard they got a slap on the wrist, whatever that means, slap on the wrist, right? But there has to be some kind of punishment. So I was thinking, well, some of you guys that follow college football or like American sports and stuff like that, USC back in the days were found to be, not truthful with what they were doing in terms of recruiting and stuff. Their punishment was scholarships were taken away for an amount of years. The program's only just started building up, and I think it was like 10 years of no scholarships or something like that. Or partial scholarships. They weren't getting full scholarships, but they could only give 2-year scholarships. Things like that anyway. Now, if there was a punishment, I think that should probably be the punishment. Is that Scots College don't get any scholarships for a while. Give them some years, give them 4 years, 5 years, or whatever it is. Or tell them, hey, you can only give scholarships to year 9s. And force them to build a program of 5 years of year 9s. And go, you can only give 2 scholarships at year 9s. I know some schools do 1 scholarship, 1 rugby scholarship at year 9s in some of these private schools. Some have 2 of them. But for me, I think taking away rugby scholarships and forcing Scots College to build from the ground up, and they just have to take that hit. They just have to take that hit and be like, okay, from now on we can't do any scholarships. And because I don't believe, and people are thinking, well, they're just going to give them scholarships for other things. It's like, well, if it is, that's what it is. But I mean, if you're going to take away scholarships from the maths department, yeah, I don't think the maths department's going to like that at all. If you're going to take science scholarships and educational scholarships away, or English scholarships away, they're not, drama and stuff, they're not going to be happy if you took away a musical scholarship. Just to cater for the rugby, for the sports ones, I don't think you're going to get stuff like that. You're not going to give dual sports scholarships to a basketball player who's a basketball player and a rugby player. If that was the case, you might as well just go to Puerto and grab all the Mormon kids who play basketball and rugby. But the thing is that the rugby department, and I'm not saying the school, I'm saying the rugby department has to take a hit and has to be punished in some way. I heard they got a slap on the wrist. I don't know what that means. Everyone says they get a slap on the wrist. Everyone says, oh yeah, they just got a bit of a slap on the wrist. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Like, obviously it's not little, but how? How are they, what is the punishment then of a slap on the wrist? I think the slap on the wrist should be 5 years of no scholarship for rugby scholarships. Something like that. Where they are forced to build a rugby program. They're forced to sort of start it again and go, well, do it properly. Say, yeah, we're not going to be the first grade. I don't know what to tell you. But there has to be something. They have to do something about this. And if there's no punishment, the school is going to get punished anyway when every other school that comes to them goes, we don't want to play you guys now. It's like any little mistake, another school's going to just not have any faith or give you the benefit of the doubt. And like, the other thing is that like even the sports department people are going to know guys who are in the other sports department and the other rugby department, and they're going to know each other personally, and then they're going to be like, nah bro, we're not doing that for you guys again. And there's going to be no friendship behind us and going, bro, we can go have a beer after this, but we're not signing off on this team that you gave us. We're not saying that, you know, we're not going to play you guys because this doesn't seem right, this doesn't look right, that kid's supposed to be injured, this kid's, you know, like things like that. If Scots College have to go back to the old school, back in the days where they were in the 3rd division or 4th division, whatever, to prepare themselves to actually build themselves up, I say you have to do that. Because it has to be something. You can't just brush it under the table and be like, yeah, we made a mistake, we went into, you know, we went in, there was a independent tribunal that said that, you know, we were, I said, no, because the video shows a whole different story to whatever you're going to try and say. It's obvious what happened when you watch the video. The sad thing also to this is that every other private school in the country is going to get judged the same way. Even though they're doing it right. It's just one of those things. People hate rich boy schools. People hate rich private schools. I love the CNI though. I love that competition. As I said before, TIOC, it's the best competition in New Zealand to watch this year. Better than the Super 8, better than the 1A, better than the Master World Cup, better than 1-2. Better than North Harbour. CNI was the greatest one to watch this year. And more than half of those schools are private. Solid rugby. Solid rugby programs. Good kids. Every team has got a superstar. Most of those boys have been there since they were year 10, at least. I'm not saying that they don't have recruits, because of course they do. That's what they offer. They offer scholarships. But there's a lot of boys that play in those teams that are actually full fee paying students that go to that school. So like, the stigma is going to be enhanced on all these other schools because of what's happened with Scots. And it's going to be unfair, but those private schools just have to cop it. It's just the way that's going to be for a little bit. The guys in the CNI are alright because most of them are private schools anyway. And all the other schools have a lot of trust in the schools that are in together with that group of schools. Like, all those schools get along. All those schools have a good understanding. That's why when fielding started hurting, the whole CNI was pretty annoyed at what was going on, and they were backing up their CNI team. Even though they're all private schools, they weren't fighting from a private school point of view. They're like, that's our CNI team right there. And those private schools were backing up the Fielding High School and going, hey, we managed to get all our stuff right. We managed to have players ready. St. Paul's Collegiate have players ready to go from second 15 to first 15. St. Peter's Cambridge have players ready from even under 15s to second 15s and under 16s ready to go in if they need to. Francis Douglas, Whanganui Collegiate, Lindisfarne, St. John's, Rathkill, they all have second 15s, all have under 15s and under 16s that are ready with players if the first 15 needs it. Now the way that it kind of feels is that it feels like from another school, like if you went to King's College or to St. Kennigan's or something like that, or if you were ever at St. Paul's Collegiate or St. Peter's or like St. Andrews, or from their perspective, the way it is like if you get caught up to the first 15, it's like a yes, I'm starting my first 15 career. That's how every other school sort of sees that situation. At Scots, from everything that I'm hearing now and the information that I'm getting back, it's like, oh shoot, I have to go to the first 15. Because they know they're not ready and prepared. That's what it's starting to sound like. So for me, I hate what's happened. I hate the way it's played out, and I hate the way it was handled. And I mean, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from Scots and whatever, but it's not a kid's thing. This is grown men problem. This is adult problems, not schoolboys problems, not kids problems. This is an adult problem, an office problem, administration problem. It's got nothing to do with the kids. But they really need to do something about it. I was at Tauranga Boys on Saturday, and they just got outplayed. That's what I reckon. That's what I saw. I saw a Tauranga team that was pretty fired up. Hamilton Boys was fired up too, but Tauranga Boys were, you could see how intense they were. I was impressed with the intensity level, that they stayed intense the whole game. And they matched Hamilton Boys' intensity, because Hamilton Boys fired up too. But Wyndham went down. Tom went down. Tom McCarthy went down. Which I actually think was a big deal when he went down. When Tom the hooker went down, I feel like that was a big one. And they lost a ball carrying threat, which he is. They lost a solid scrummager and line-out thrower. I think they lost a lot of leadership when he got injured. And then it made it worse that Enoki got injured. and at number 8, and his one sounded bad too. Like, I was standing at one end of the field and I could hear him screaming in the middle of the field, and because he got blown out, and I heard him once he got blown out, and I think it might have been his ankle or something. But even the players that blew him out, they sort of jumped back too, knowing that someone, because he screamed out straight away. And even the Tauranga boys sort of jumped back, going, "Oh shoot, he's hurt, you got to get off him," kind of thing. And even when the play moved on, those boys kind of were looking back and sort of just seeing if he's all right, like that kind of thing, at the same time as trying to keep focus on the game. But when you take 2 players like that out, it took a lot out of that team and out of that forward pack. And then when Wyndham got injured, the first 5, Patuawa, and when he went out, I just think that they just had no chance from then on. Even though they started making comebacks, there was still kind of that gap in the attack of Hamilton boys. And even though Rangiwai stood up like big time, Kayla stood up big time, Ollie was going hard out every single time, and those guys, especially Ollie and Kayla, they pretty much just got swarmed every time they touched the ball. And for me, like, I thought that was a perfect tactic. I think when you have players like that on the other team, you prepare your team around shutting those guys down first, then controlling the breakdown, and then looking for turnover ball opportunities, and then running off broken play or turnover ball. And a lot of the times that's what they did. Aiden played massive. Aiden was good. Monks was good. The first 5, Aaron played solid. The usual Uma. Oh my gosh, spacing on the names. But all those guys, that they all stood up. Those Tauranga boys actually played. They left it for their best game. They left their best game for that one, and they really tore it up. And I think if you've been following Super 8 rugby and following the way that it went, there were so many good teams this year in the Super 8, and New Plymouth and Gisborne were the only ones that weren't in it at the end, where everybody else was still fighting right to the last game. And I think it shows how strong it was, because the fact that Palmy is the one that makes it through too, and I think the standings were Hamilton boys, Napier boys, Tauranga, Palmy, Hastings, or Tauranga, Hastings, Palmy, something like that anyway. But to have Palmy make it through as well, against a Tauranga team that beat Hamilton boys, now got the Moeska Cup again, I think that's solid. I think that's so good. I think it's so good that it's ended up like this. I mean, it's sad for Hamilton boys, but a lot of people are not going to feel sorry for Hamilton boys. It's just kind of the way it is. The name is still the same, but the faces change. And no one really cares about the faces that change. They care about what school it is. I feel sorry for the boys, because these boys, even though a lot of them were Some of them were in the team last year where they won a national championship. Those new boys that have, this year they don't want to do that. But now we get to see a new champion. Because even when I was watching the Sacred Heart and Westlake Boys, and the thing with Westlake Boys, right, is that Westlake Boys has got to be the best defensive team in the country. And I know that I've been sort of humming and hawing about the fact that, like, I was too scared to put them as number one, even though I kept saying too that they are a number one contending team. They could be the best in Auckland. They could this and that. And I wanted them to play more bigger schools, so I was sure about them. Even though those boys had dominated in the North Harbour comp, it just wasn't the teams that I wanted to see them dominate. And it's not their fault, they're just in that competition, it's just how it is. But James was massive, Isaac obviously massive, Blake, Tiger, Luke, Alex, Kaiva, Iggy as well. Like, that team, I think Westlake Boys is going to win the national championship. And because people don't know, I don't know if people, I don't think much people know. Maybe only the Westlake Boys and Tauranga Boys know, or the parents and followers, is that they've already played this year. They have a tradition exchange with each other, and they've already played. They played early this year. And it was 34-12, something like that, to Westlake Boys. And that's the first matchup. And I don't know if Tauranga can turn that much of a deficit around, I don't know. Like, they do have the bigger pack, but we've now seen that, and this is kind of what I wanted to see anyway. I wanted to see if Westlake could handle a bigger pack. I wanted to see if Westlake could do it with a bigger pack, do it against a bigger pack, and then Sacred Heart, who's one of the biggest packs in the country, probably the best first five in the country, with one of the best props in the country as their captain. Westlake proved that they can handle big teams with just relentless defense, tackling in 2s and 3s, suffocating the ball, non-stop work at the breakdowns, and just full motors every single play. They all play at pace and speed, and I have a feeling Westlake Boys is going to be the national championship, team this year, because they're going to be the smallest forward pack that's there. They're going to have the best player in the country there, and James Cameron. But the fact that they can handle big packs, where Southland's got a massive pack, Palmy's got a massive pack, and Tauranga Boys got a massive 4-pack too. But I think Westlake can still do it. And I think it's going to take a lot for, like, Tauranga's got to figure out a way to play fast with big boys. Either play really fast with big boys or slow the game all the way down. And I think that if you, like, it's gonna have to be like a really boring game for Tauranga Boys to take Westlake out of their game, play real safe, old school, Northern Hemisphere, boring as rugby, for them to win and to dominate around those rucks. And the energy level has to be the same. And like, one thing that I noticed too, and I said this before about Sacred Heart, is that, and I said this about Auckland teams, is Auckland teams, they always win when they finish the 1A. It was almost like they deflate and the energy level was different. Sacred Heart was the same. They started off with just this different energy. They didn't look like the same energy that they were playing St. Kennigan's with. They just had this different, you know, look about them. And Westlake Boys was up by 15 at one point. Or 8. Or 18, something like that. It was like, it was a lot. And Sacred Heart had to claw their way back, almost did it. But they didn't look like the same side. And I think Tauranga has to do the same, where they have to keep that same energy that they played with against Hamilton with, bring that into this Westlake game, and really smash and bash against a Westlake team. And I think, and if I was at Tauranga Boys, I would tell my boys to play as physical as possible. Everything is physical. Everything hurts. Everything is hard. Everything is about making them feel it. That's how I would play it. Because Westlake are too fast, too accurate in execution that's just so good. The back play is so fast. Even Geelong, like, who didn't play Geelong or Geelong? Yeah, well, he's the second five. Didn't have a massive role in the game, but even when he ran like cutters and stuff like that, and he ran dummies, and it was just so good. Like, the execution side of it was just good. The way that James played off him was great. The way that Isaac ran the gaps, it was awesome. JD, who's just coming back from a long ass injury, who probably didn't think he was going to play again this year with a broken jaw, came back and did his part. And I'm so glad that they didn't actually play him the full game, because I think that this is his chance and opportunity again to go back to the top four, and then to make a difference and an impact with, like, you know, being fully healthy, fully full with the rugby just oozing out of him. He's just so keen to get back on the field after being out for so long. And Westlake need to bring that again, and they need to get those backs running. That's why I think that Tauranga boys have to really play physical and slow the game down. Even at the breakdowns, if I was Tauranga boys, I wouldn't stop fighting at the breakdown. I would just keep going and going and going, and just counteract everything. Make those fellas all come in, and let's have see who's the strongest battle. Not see who can endure, because the endurance side I would give to Westlake, but the muscle side of it, I would just go, let's just see who's the strongest, and have Saki and have Aiden, Hohepa, like all these kind of guys. Have Aiden and Uma and all these guys just go in there and just flipping tear it up, and see if they can handle the physicality side of it. I know that in the Super 8 they play a lot of space. They play, all this running angles, blah blah blah, whatever. I just think, man, let's just take it old school, Northern Hemisphere, England, boring as Ireland, boring as old school rugby that they played, and just have it all about physical contact and all that kind of stuff. I would take it back to that kind of situation, because that's going to be the hardest game. It's going to be that first one. I mean, I'm pretty positive, and I'm not trying to be a dick to the Southland boys, but I'm pretty positive that Palmy boys is going to get through. I hope Southland, make it interesting and get through, because I guess, Westlake made some history. Let's make some history then, Southland boys. I hope those guys get through. I don't know if they will, or I don't know if they can, but because I'm picking Palmy. But maybe Southland's got some time for some history. And see if they can do it. Because I know the rest of the country is counting them off too. The only one that's cheering for the South Island is probably just South Island people. But I think they do that out of loyalty, not that they think that they're going to win. Just a loyalty that's just outside, just a tribal mentality kind of thing. But it's hard for Southern teams to come up here and be dominant straight away. And I think that Southern teams probably need to come up more and play North Island teams. They should probably come and play more CNI Super 8 1A kind of teams. Not Wellington teams, but CNI Super 8, Auckland teams. That's why I'm happy that like Southland that have that exchange with King's College, and that's Kings and Auckland Grammar that went down to Southland boys, and Southland boys showed them what's up. show them what they could do, but at the same time is that they need to get more of that, because when they go through the season, it's just too easy sometimes for those 4 or 5 top teams in Otago, where you only got Otago, Southland, King's High School, and John McGlashan, and that's kind of it. And then you'll get a Dunstan sometimes, a Mount Aspiring sometimes, you'll get a South Otago sometimes, you know. But for the most part, yeah, it's just those other ones. I mean, like, because down in Southland, they've got Varden, Central South, I think is the other school. They've got St. Peter's Gore High School, Mackenzie, schools like that. But in terms of you know, rugby and that, they just don't get out there. They just can't. It's just too far. And so hopefully Southland have something for us and they can surprise us, because it's just going to make it a lot more interesting. Put a lot more pride back in the South Island. But I'm interested. This whole week I'll be at the Under 15 Nationals, because it's held here. Rugby by the Beach is on this week, I think. They haven't really updated their Facebook or anything like that, but I'm sure it's this week, because it's usually on the same time as the Under 15s, but I don't really know what schedules they are, so it's just convenient that I am Under 15s Nationals here in Hamilton, because my wife's still overseas with my other daughter. Parents have gone to Australia, so I don't really have anyone picking up my daughter, so I'll just be staying here in Hamilton. I'd love to get up to that. I know that the Under 16s, is it? I think it is, or the Northern Region. There's another competition up in counties, so if you're around there, go and see those ones. But yeah, I'll probably be here for the whole Under 15s Nationals. It's pretty spread out. I don't understand why it's so spread out, but yeah, I'll be around for all of that. So I'll come and see heaps of you guys in the 15s, and Southland under 15s tournament is on too, as well as I think the Hurricanes under 15s is on right now as well. It starts today. But yeah, I love this rep season, and if you're at those under 15s tournaments, and you can send me some game footage or some live stream so I can watch, because all these under 15s that are all playing right now, that's all the majority of guys that I'll be making up the top 60 year 11 rankings for 2024. And so that's why it's going to be a big deal that I get around and see all these under 15s, because I'll be doing a lot of homework on these players, seeing who's all the year 10s going into year 11 next year, and hopefully I'll find some more talent, because that's where I find the majority of the top 200 rankings in the future. Like most of these boys that you see now in year 13, I saw them all when they were 14-year-olds and at under 15s and stuff, and so yeah, it's been cool. Love what I do, love this level of rugby, love high school rugby, first team rugby here in New Zealand. Love you all. Later, ball.